Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor, your host. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm thrilled that you guys are all here. Come on in. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring virtual assistants to create, grow, and scale businesses as virtual assistants. And I work with my students in my free online classroom, my community, my courses, and my coaching programs. So today I'm going to be your host for Lessons from the Cockpit. And this is where I share weekly tactical and practical advice for your virtual assistant business. And these tips are for you if you've been in business for a while or you're just starting out. So I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. So let me know that in the comments. So hello. So Hatis is here. Looks like Tristy's here. Chalora's here. And Donna is here among all of the rest of you. So we are streaming all over the place today. We are on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click the subscribe button at the top so you won't miss a thing. We go live multiple times every single week, and I don't want you to miss out on anything. So today we're going to talk about how to run a networking event. And it's pretty interesting topic, and it's something that I did for 4 years. I was the director of a networking organization, and it's really a great way for people who are introverted and not introverted to take charge of their networking in a way that you may or may not have thought about, right? So great. So look at it. We have people from Winchester, Virginia, Georgia. We have an Argentinian living in the UK. Hello, Carolina. So hello, that's great. And we have someone from Ohio and Texas, all the places. All right. So let me introduce myself for a minute and continue to let me know where you're coming in from, okay? So this is me and my little Delish, as I call her, almost 13 years ago when I was just starting my business as a virtual assistant. And I started this path at a very difficult time. I was a few months shy of my 50th birthday, and I don't know about you, but it's like, I had these ideas, by 30, I wanted X, Y, and Z. By 40, I wanted X, Y, and Z. And by 50, I definitely had milestones that I wanted to reach. And that seemed very reasonable, right? I wanted to be happily married. I wanted to have financial, independence, meaning I wanted to be on the road to saving for retirement. I wanted to have security. I wanted to be able to go out to dinner. I wanted to be a mom, which I was. I wanted to be a homeowner. I wanted to have a job that I liked. But most of all, I wanted to be happy. And what's interesting about this whole thing is that I had milestones set out for 30, 40, and 50. I didn't have milestones set out for 60. I'm not sure why. But the thing about that's interesting is that because I didn't reach the milestones at 50, somehow in my head, I made up that it was over. Like I just blew the mission. And that was really hard to deal with. So here I am. Looks like I'm having a streaming issue. Let's see if I come back. Here I am. Okay, good. At 50, I'm selling my home because I haven't been able to pay the mortgage for a year. I'm getting divorced. I don't have a job. I have a business that's completely failing. And not only is it failing, between not having income and the business falling apart, I have 6 figures of debt. I have 7 years of back taxes. Like I have a total disaster happening, right? A total disaster. But I also had this little girl, and I needed to figure out how on my own I was going to turn this all around and make this ship, be pointing in the right direction. And so I thought about it, and I knew getting a job wasn't the answer for a couple of reasons. One, making 50, 60, 70, even $80,000 a year in corporate and having someone be in charge of my hours, be in charge of how much I was making, be in charge of my increases, like going into that meeting we've all been to where, you sit down and they're like, you're going to get a 1% increase and you're supposed to be happy about that no matter what kind of effort you put in, right? So I knew that I wanted to go out on my own, continue to be a business owner, although this time it needed to actually work. And so I thought about doing admin work. So I started temping and I thought, okay, what if I what if I do this kind of work? And I thought, all right, so if they're willing to pay me X amount of dollars as a temp, that means that the company I'm working for is getting paid as well. So what if I just went directly to the people who needed admin work? So I decided to do that. And I started telling everybody that I knew. I got my first client at literally the school bus stop. I'm standing there with Emily. One of the dads says, "What's new?" And I say, "Oh, I'm doing admin work. I'm temping. I want to turn it into a business." And his entire face changed. And he was like, "What?" What I didn't know was that he started a business a couple months earlier and he was drowning in administrative details and he needed help. So he hired me. And that was my first client. So for those of you who, and I know it's a lot of you, you're looking at everybody you know and you're prospecting and you're strategizing, how am I going to get them to hire me? Just stop doing that. Just completely stop doing that, because there's plenty of people who need what you have to offer. You just have to tell everybody you know. And prospecting is exhausting and it's demoralizing and it's, so many things. So just stop doing that and just tell everybody you know what you're up to. So let's put, I want to push the button, the fast forward button, because this totally paid off. So Rocket Girl Solutions is the name of my virtual assistant business. It took off in 2010. I've worked with over 220 clients. I've made over $1 million. The first year I was in business, I made $70,000. And for the next 10 years, I made $100,000 or more working as a VA from home, not with an agency, not training people to be VAs, but literally doing VA work. And then let's push the button again, the future button. This is what it looks like today. So I got remarried at 60 years old, guys. Crazy, right? These are our 5 kids, Emily and Greg's 4 boys, David, Charlie, Stephen, and Andy. And this is on our wedding day 2 years ago. So life is different. My finances are handled. There's no running around with minimum payments. There's no stressing about my cell phone getting turned off, which it used to get turned off on a pretty regular basis. I can breathe again. I don't have crazy debt piled up. Emily came home the other day, a month ago, and, her car needed $700 of this and her hair needed that. And she needed new riding boots. And I was able to handle it. And for literally decades, I was not able to do that. And it was so stressful. So stressful. All right. So who's ready to dive in and learn about hosting a networking event? I'm very excited to talk to you guys about this. All right. But what I want you to take from this is that no matter where you are on your journey, you can turn it around. You can make a difference and you can have the life that you want, no matter how old you are. It's a 100% inside job. Okay. So as a virtual assistant, having a steady stream of clients is very important. And that's why I'm encouraging you to put yourself out there so that people will know who you are and what you do in your VA business. And, if you've been around me at all, you know that I call this sprinkling, right? It's like sprinkling. It's like so much more fun than marketing, right? Marketing is a word people are like, I got to do my marketing. I got to sell myself. That sounds terrible. But one way to do this is by attending networking events. But another way that people don't think about is hosting a networking event. So let me tell you, when I moved to Connecticut in 2015, I got connected to some really cool women. And how I did that was I connected to one person and then another one. And women and men as well are like, I should introduce you to this person. I should introduce you to this person. And I did it. If they said that, I said, great, give me their contact information or connect us or whatever it's going to take. But I followed up and I actually met with the people that they were suggesting. Okay. So here I moved to Connecticut. I got connected to this woman named Christine. Christine is a real estate agent. She needs to support her family. She has 2 twin boys that are in high school at that time. Her husband was laid off, probably not going to be able to get another job just because of the circumstances and age. And she invited me to a networking event. It was in a local dress shop. She's serving wine and cheese. The dress shop owner is giving a 10% discount or something to everybody who's in the room. And Christine gets to stand up in front of room. Hello, I'm Christine. Welcome. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm a real estate agent. I specialize in this town, this town, and this town, and I would love to help you. Thank you for coming. It's so great to see you all. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So basically, for the cost of a little bit of wine and cheese, which I bet the dress store owner paid for half or most of it, she's in front of the room telling all these people and their guests what she does for work. How genius is this? Like, can you see this? All right. Yeah, it's crazy. So let me tell you what happened. What happened to me? Well, let me finish this. Okay. So she has a place to be generous. So think about this in terms of your heart. Okay. So she has a place to be generous and invite people to. She's provided a social interaction. Okay. She has a reason to stay in touch with people because she's inviting them to events. She did this every month, right? So if you think about it, she's creating partnerships with the store owners. She's helping the store owners, because the place that I went to in this town, I never would have gone to this dress shop ever. Like, it's two towns over, right? I'm not a big shopper. But now I know about it, and I met the owner, and I had some wine and cheese, right? And I met a bunch of people. And then on top of that, what happened was, we took a selfie, me and my friend Ellen, and now we're on social media at the place talking about Christine and her event. So you can see it's like so on and so on and so on, right? So a few years ago, in 2015, actually, I went to a group. It was 2016. The group started in 2016. It was called the Entrepreneurial Women's Club. And there was a woman, her name was Heather, and she started the group and she ran it for 2 years. And after 2 years, she didn't want to do it anymore. So she asked me and my friend, Lisa Corrado, did we want to take it over? We were thrilled, because by then both of us understood the model, right? We understood how this would work. So we took it over, we revamped it, gave it a new logo, all the things, made it ours. And we ran it for 4 years. And so 8 times a year for 4 years, we had places to invite people. We expanded into Boston because I just moved from Boston to here. And it's this whole idea of being a hostess, and we didn't have to clean our houses, right? Because we're doing it somewhere else. And both of our businesses were already successful. But imagine how much more successful they were because of the fact that we stood, and I did very little of the talking. Lisa did the talking, she did the writing, and I did the newsletter. I did all the VA stuff behind the scenes. I did the name tags, all that. But I was one of the hostesses or host. And at the beginning of the meeting, I stood up and said, "Hi, I'm Belinda Sandor. I'm a virtual assistant. I specialize in working with entrepreneurs, people like you," right? And I help them with X, Y, and Z. And then I stopped talking. So now 10, 20, 30, 40, however many people are in the room know what I do. Really important. And they're coming up to me to thank me for the event, right? Do you see the beautifulness in this? And it doesn't have to be an organization. You could have one event, right? You could just have one event. So this is why you want to think about this. So the benefits, again, so you have at the beginning of the meeting, you have a legitimate reason to tell everybody about yourself. And at first, Lisa and I were a little shy about this. And then we thought, we need to really talk about what we're doing and tell a story and, spend 5 minutes getting into it. So we connect with the people that are in the room. Right. And, the thing is also, everybody in the room's paying attention, right? Because you're in front of everybody and you're the host. And so they're all like, oh, on the edge of their seat, right? Now, that's the bad news too, because, everybody's looking at you, right? And everybody's listening to you. But the thing is that if you can just, step into the part of your personality that's okay with that, it's well worth the 5 minutes, right? It's well worth the 5 minutes. All right. All right, so there's many ways to do this. All right, many ways to do this. It's really hot here in Connecticut, I got to tell you. So when I started my VA business, Rocket Girl Solutions, I invited everybody that I knew who was local to my home. I served wine and beer. I got hors d'oeuvres from Costco. I gave party favors out to everyone. I gave this little sparkly, it's like a votive, I guess, a candle holder, it was like this big around, and I put Hershey's Kisses in it. I put my business card in the front, tied it up with some cellophane, a little bow, and I called it rocket fuel. And I gave it to every person who left. So everybody who's leaving has this thing that they're putting on their desk, their kitchen counter, wherever, has my card, and it's a memory of the event, right? And so, you can do this to celebrate your new business. You can do this to celebrate being in business for a year or 6 months, or just because you want to, right? Just because you want to. Now, I want to tell you a story about, and this just happened last week, the week before last. So one of my first clients, Michael Katz, he has an ice cream party every year. I want to tell you how this works. He invites everybody on his newsletter list. Okay, so thousands of people get invited all over the world. Doesn't matter. He's telling everyone it's his birthday of his business. This year it was 23 years. So he's telling everybody's celebrating. Talk about keep in touch. Holy cow. He asked people to RSVP and to send him a message. So people are sending him messages. Congratulations, this is great. Can't come, want to come, going to come, all the things. So now he's interacting with all these people, right? And even if it's only out of, I don't know how big his list is, let's say 7,000 people, even if 50 people, which is a small portion of that, are interacting with him, 50 people are interacting with him, right? Holy cow. Okay, so then what happens is people who sign up get a ticket for free ice cream. I go every year. We go to the event. We don't have to organize anything ahead of time except to tell the people at the ice cream store, which they know our names. We've been doing this forever. We say, when somebody has a ticket, put it aside, and then he's going to come pay for all of those tickets at the end. He brings tickets with him. And when I say ticket, it's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that says Blue Penguin, name of his company, ice cream, free ice cream. So everybody comes, usually about 30 or 35 people come. Everybody has a great time. We're there for 2 hours. At the end of the event, he goes and pays for the ice cream. Guess how much the ice cream is? So he's told thousands of people, engaged with, 50 or 100 people or more. 30 people have showed up. He's shaken their hand, given them a hug, talked to them, introduced them to other people. $250. Seriously, $250. Like, do you get the beautifulness of that? Like, really, it's insane, right? So when Lisa and I got presented with the opportunity to take over the Entrepreneurial Women's Club, which you can start something like that from scratch. You just need to be brave enough to tell everybody but you don't have to do it in person. Everything is email, right? Everything is email, or inviting people to an event, right? Now, we never made any money at this. I think we're in business for 4 years. And I think all in, we were able to take out about $500 to $1,000 each every year, which compared to the amount of energy we put into it was, we were working for free. However, both of our businesses benefited greatly. I mean, I could look at the member list and be like, client, 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 client. She could do the same thing, so it's not a way to make money. So if you're thinking, oh, this is going to be great, because we charged $300 for membership dues. We also charged for lunch, depending on the circumstances, where it was and what we were doing. Sometimes we charged as much as, $35 to $40, $50 for lunch. And it, like I said, it barely covered our expenses. But it did a lot for our businesses. It did a lot for our confidence. It did a lot to establish us, as business owners in the community. So think about how you could do this. Okay. All right. So here's the logistics of it. You've got to decide virtual or in person, right? You've got to decide on a format. Are we going to have speakers? That's what we did. Are we going to have which is like, that's some work to find speakers, right? Or interactive, so what we did every year is we did this one thing. It was called My Favorite Things. I created in Word a document that said my favorite things, and then 1 through 25 or 30 or however many people we thought were going to come to the event. We emailed it to everyone. They printed it out. Everyone in the room goes around and tells us a favorite thing, an app, a kitchen tool, whatever. Everybody writes it down. They have 25 or 30 things that people can't live without, right? So you can do it like that as well. So you need to choose the date, right, that you're going to have the event, and then invite people, and so you'll set up registration, and that's how you're going to get people's email addresses. You'll set up a registration page. You can use Jot forms. You can use, Google Google Forms. There's a million different ways that you can do it without spending a lot of money. You can decide, are you going to have name tags? Are you going to have food? Are you going to have drinks? And think about that. And the other thing you're going to need to do is think about an agenda. Even though it was just me and Lisa and, it's 30 women, we definitely had an agenda that Lisa made every time we met with times so we could figure out where we were. So that was important too. And then at the end, you want to plan the wrap up afterward and mention the next meeting date, what's happening, where it's going to be, and things like that. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions about this. And I hope you can start to see how there's definitely effort to do this, but how you can really spread the word about your business in a way that is really generous. Now, there's another woman in my community. Her name is Elizabeth, and she's doing this as well. Now, she does it at 10 o'clock in the morning. She gets sponsors. So somebody in town donates coffee. There's no food. She doesn't charge, but she gets, 40 people together in a room, and she's a real estate agent. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now, after the event is where the magic lives. All right. So, what you do after the event is over. So you have the email list of everybody who was there. So you want to email them. You want to add new people to your circle. You want to set up coffee dates with people. You want to start relationships. You want to connect with them on social media. You want to get them on your newsletter list, right? So you want to follow up with the people who are in the room and make sure that they're in your system, right? Your sprinkling system. So if you decide to do this formally, and on a regular basis, you're going to want to consider having a partner because it's a lot of work. So I did so here's what we did. We did a newsletter every week. We had a member directory. This was like totally, next level kind of thing after a while. At first, we were just trying to figure it out, but we had a website. People registered. We set up WooCommerce on the website to take money. That was difficult. There are other ways to do that now. That was a long time ago, but we formalized it. We got a business bank account. We set up an LLC. We got an EIN, and all of that. And mostly if you have a partner, the reason you're going to want to do that is because eventually it's going to go away or break up, or you're going to sell it or something or give it away. And so it's really kind of like a prenuptial agreement. So when Lisa and I, thankfully, on the same day looked at each other and said, I don't want to do this anymore. We were like, yeah, I don't either. This is too much. We're done. And we gave it to somebody. But we knew what to do. Like if you want to think about if you've got this formal agreement and somebody wants to quit, or somebody, gets hurt or dies or whatever, you want to have an exit strategy. But having a partner is good. And having very clear responsibilities worked for us too. So she did the writing, I did the MailChimp. We both invited 20 people each time personally. And we had ways to track that. So it worked really well. So I'd love to hear if any of you guys are thinking about this, thinking about either a single event or creating an organization. It really is a way that instead of attending some scary networking event, you can run it. And it's really not that hard. It's like it's a birthday party for your kid, right? Only with adults. So think, about, you could even go into your town and go in all the stores and invite all the people. You could just stop into the lawyers and the accountants and all the things and say, I'm having this networking event. I'd love to have you. Love to have you there. I'm new to the community, or I'm just started a business. I want to get to know everybody. So think about that. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Hi, it says, hello from Niantic, Connecticut. Great topic. Lots of new businesses here in town. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's totally beneficial to you, but in a way that is beneficial to everybody who's in the room, and you create, you create value for people. And then they look up to you and, they see you. Oh, that's so-and-so, right? That's so-and-so. So Heather says, I have been running events similar to this without ever calling it networking event for a couple of years now. Never thought about it like this. Yeah, Donna, right? Right. So it's just really, there's a lot of things that you can put business on top of in a way that's not gross, and twist it. Like it took Lisa and I a while, it was probably at least a year in when we were like, we should be talking about our businesses a lot more. Cause we were like, hi, we're Lisa and Belinda and we're here and we're have some salmon, and then we started to a little bit at a time get more strategic about it. And nobody complained. Everyone was like, oh, this is so great. Lisa and Belinda, she's a virtual assistant and she's a business coach and all those things. But yeah, think about that. And the ice cream party is great. The ice cream party is great because it's so casual. I mean, it's just so casual and relaxed and it's really fun. And we just stand there for 2 hours and sit down. Everybody gets an ice cream and yeah, $250. You can't get hors d'oeuvres and beer and wine for that, for sure. But it's definitely worth it. Good. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are thinking about this and considering it, because even though it might seem scary and like a big deal, it's really not if you boil it down. It's a date, it's inviting people, and you're inviting them to a party, right? Where they're going to meet other people. So it definitely benefits them as well. So let me know. Yeah. So Donna says we host a themed dinner once a month at our house. Yeah. Okay. So absolutely. So if you can figure out how to weave your business into that, that would be great. That would be great. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can literally be 3 minutes. I mean, how long does it take to say, I'm a virtual assistant. I work with entrepreneurs. I specialize in admin and I do 1, 2, 3. Like really, that's all it takes. So very cool. Very cool. All right. Okay, so Emily says thoughts on a virtual event, mainly because my clients are all over. Yes. Okay, so let's talk about that. I should have talked about that more. Okay, so when COVID hit, Lisa and I were like, uh-oh. I mean, I remember we were having a meeting on like March 20th. And the reason I remember the dates is my birthday is March 12th. And like March 10th, I had a live event in Mystic, Connecticut. I was talking for SCORE. And then the next day, my daughter was like, Mom, can you come and get me? And I was supposed to have a tooth pulled on Friday. And I canceled it because I had to go to Virginia to pick up Emily for 2 weeks, right? Because that's when everything was closing down. So I remember Lisa and I saying to ourselves, like, should we have a meeting? Like, what are we doing? And we took the organization virtual for 2 years. And virtual is good. Virtual is good. What I recommend if you do virtual is have breakout rooms. Have a question. So even if you have a speaker, have breakout rooms so people can get to know each other. Because otherwise, it's just like a meeting, right? And it doesn't feel good. So definitely, I'm Lisa, I'm Belinda, I'm blah, blah, blah. We do this, all the things. And then you can, that's virtual is really good for like a things I can't live without, because everybody talks and you call on people. But even if you have a speaker, make sure you have 15 or 20 minutes at the end where people go into breakout rooms and then do something to report back. So virtual totally works. But you just need to figure out how to make it interactive and interesting and have a printout or a worksheet or something like that. So it doesn't feel, and really emphasize that people need to be on camera, I would say something like everybody, this is what I say in my groups. I'll say something like everybody who it's possible to be on camera, come on in. And what I mean by possible is you're not naked and you're not in the bathroom, make it a joke, but bring everybody in. And that'll make a difference. Good question, Emily. Thank you for asking that. Good. Okay, so one more thing I want to tell you before we head off. We're a minute over, so thank you for staying. We're hosting another Kickstart Your VA Business training live starting August 7th. So put it on your calendar, sign up at, let me look at it's vakickstart.com, vakickstart.com. Go on over there, sign up, join the Facebook group. We're going to have 5 days of live training specifically on how to get started if you're starting from scratch, and if you have a business that's just not getting revved up, you're going to learn why, and you're going to learn what to do. All right. So sign up for that. We're starting 2 weeks from yesterday. I'm very excited about it. And I would love to help you get your businesses off the ground. Okay. So sign up for that. So thank you for coming to Lessons from the Cockpit. I really appreciate it. I hope this topic was valuable. It's certainly something I'm passionate about. I think it's a great way, whether you're introverted or extroverted, to like get in front of people, with a low, with a low cost, and establish yourself as an expert. Okay, good. So join me here next week again, and we will bring more value to you. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.